Ladies and gentlemen, fellow seekers of truth, today I share with you what history books won't, what teachers won't say, what the media dares not touch, because today we're talking about Poland. Not the Poland of postcards, not the Poland of textbooks, but the real Poland, the one built in shadows, the one shaped by secret forces, veiled agreements, ancient bloodlines, and foreign puppeteers. 10 truths, 10 conspiracies, if you like, that are finally starting to surface, and once you see them, you won't unsee them. 1. Judeo-Polonia, the blueprint for control. Let's begin with the most buried of truths. Judeo-Polonia. More than just an anti-Semitic myth, this was a real political vision in the early 20th century. But it wasn't born then, it was seeded long before. There were powerful banking dynasties and cultural elites who saw Poland not as a homeland, but as a staging ground. From the Piast era to the partitions, the plan has been the same. Poland was to be managed, not ruled, farmed, not freed. 2. The Piast puppets. Mieszko I didn't just convert for faith, he was initiated. The Piasts were selected. By whom? Hidden priest kings, pagan elite orders, or early Roman Christian alliances, that's still unclear. But one thing is certain, they were installed. Their dynasty wasn't national, it was managerial, executing a plan centuries in the making. 3. Illuminati. Long before the term Illuminati became a meme, their forerunners were active in Europe. They embedded themselves into ecclesiastical structures, trade networks, and royal courts. Poland, with its critical position between East and West, was vital to their design. That's why Polish kings always fell in line. They were never truly sovereign. 4. Poland as a buffer state. Poland wasn't created, it was allowed to exist. The Holy Roman Empire and Byzantium needed a buffer, something to absorb the chaos of the steppes and keep Germanic ambitions checked. So they drew up a state, not for the Polish people, but for European equilibrium. Our ancestors were foot soldiers in a global strategy. 5. The Reptilian Directive. And now we go deeper. You may laugh, but the reptilian bloodlines theory has roots in Slavic and Vedic traditions. Dragon-slaying myths, royal serpents, underground cities, it all connects. Some believe the Piasts were hybrids, part of the same lineage, seen in Sumer, Egypt, and Rome. Symbols in early Polish heraldry, cryptic cathedral carvings, they tell the story in plain sight. 6. The Round Table. Before the Round Table, much like in 1989 when Poland's supposed freedom was negotiated in private, a similar betrayal occurred at our origin. Medieval round tables, church councils, feudal pacts, were where Poland's fate was truly decided. Behind closed doors, always. The people never had a voice. The script was written centuries in advance. 7. Lech, Czech, and Rus. Invented identities. The myth of the three brothers, Lech, Czech, and Rus, wasn't folklore, it was programming, a way to implant national divisions between the Slavic peoples. Their journey was fabricated to justify artificial borders, prevent Slavic unification, and tie us emotionally to a version of history written by Rome and Constantinople. 8. Smolensk, the ritual continuation. Fast forward to 2010. The plane crash in Smolensk wasn't just a tragedy, it was an operation, a ritual, a message, tied deeply to old Piast bloodlines, to secret societies embedded in modern politics. The victims weren't just politicians, they were symbolic sacrifices, and the site, chosen for a reason. Always the East, always the shadows. 9. The Magdalene Network. Magdalene domes, hidden vaults beneath cathedrals, secret councils, all point to one truth. Poland's religious structures were hijacked by power brokers from the beginning. Christianity wasn't Poland's salvation, it was its leash. These networks still operate today, managing education, judiciary, even cultural memory. 10. Siege mentality, the engine of control. And so we arrive at the final truth. Poland's victimhood isn't just a historical result, it's a manufactured identity. Every invasion, every partition, every trauma was used to program us, to keep us fearful, divided, reactive. But this narrative wasn't natural. It was engineered by forces who benefit from a Poland constantly on its knees. So now we stand at the edge of revelation. For centuries we've lived in a cage built from lies and lullabies. We've taught our children myths not to empower, but to pacify. But the time for sleep is over. I don't ask you to believe everything I said. I ask you to question what you've been taught. Read between the lines, decode the symbols, reconnect the legends. Because truth is not what they publish, truth is what they hide. And I, like many of you, am simply waiting for the day when the ruling elites finally admit what we already know, that these weren't conspiracy theories, they were blueprints. Thank you for listening. Long live truth, long live Poland.